Upstate New York is a playground for ghosts and spirits taking residence in various places in the region. But out of all these haunted attractions, there are some that stand out for being particularly disturbing. Places like a 200-year-old asylum that used to house orphans, a former psychiatric center known for forced lobotomies, and a cemetery with statues that bleed from the eyes. When taking a haunted tour of the region, here are the spots you must visit, if you dare. First off is the Rolling Hills Asylum, originally called the Genesee County Poor Farm. The nearly 200-year-old asylum in East Bethany housed orphans, physically disabled people, the elderly, criminals, and convicts. Group tours of the site are available, and guests can see every room, including the kitchen and children's bedrooms, because the asylum was home to numerous families. Some of the original strollers and children's toys remain the building today. The spirits of some of these disturbed souls are thought to inhabit the halls of Rolling Hills. One tragic story involved an inmate named Roy. Roy suffered from gigantism, a physical deformity that left him with protruding facial features, large hands and feet, and a height of over 7 feet. Roy was the son of a prominent banker, and his physical appearance was an embarrassment to his family. At age 12, Roy was dropped at the Genesee County home and was left there until his death at age 62. Roy liked opera music and was generally kind. Today, his hulking shadow is still witnessed by visitors who report seeing him lurking throughout the building. Being a poor house, when the inmates died, there was little or no money for a proper burial. Over the decades, thousands were buried in a potter's field on the property. Most of the graves were unmarked, and the dead still lie below. Today, there is a monument in the nearby Genesee County Park that holds a few of the headstones from the facility. Besides the many ghosts, this monument is the only reminder that people died under this roof. Big Moose Lake. In 1906, Grace Brown and Chester Gillette went out for a canoe ride on Big Moose Lake, and Grace never came back. Her body was soon discovered, and Gillette was convicted and sentenced to death for the crime. A historical marker now stands at the site where Gillette and Brown left for their boat trip. The murder of young Grace Brown was one of the most shocking to ever take place in upstate New York. The whole pageant of death played out in the region. The murder, the sensational trial, the execution, and the burials. The crime became the premise for many movies and books, including An American Tragedy. One can follow along the footsteps of this American tragedy in several places spread over for upstate counties. Next, Willard Asylum for the Chronic Insane. Willard opened in 1869 and housed 1,500 patients by 1877, making it the largest asylum in the country. For one day a year each spring, the grounds of Willard Asylum in Seneca County are open, with hundreds, sometimes thousands, of people attending each year. Willard Asylum was meant to rescue mentally ill people from county facilities, where they were usually kept, often chained up or in cages. At Willard, the idea was that patients could be treated and trained to find productive work so that they could rejoin society. This was a new concept at the time the facility opened in 1869, and the effect it had on the patients was obvious from the beginning. In practice, Willard was as much a prison as a hospital. Patients were kept until the administrators decided they could leave. Many never did. At a time when understanding of mental health was very crude, not everyone who found themselves locked in the asylum was really insane. Rapids Theater. The popular concert venue in Niagara Falls bills itself as one of New York's most haunted places. It gained recognition after an appearance on Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters in 2011. While shooting the show, producers said they heard a woman's voice in the air ducts and the sound of a bottle being kicked, and saw a shadowy figure walking across the stage and near the bar. The theater occasionally announces a public ghost hunt, for which only 50 tickets will be sold. Groups of 10 or more can call for a private tour. Reports of paranormal activity include an apparition that passes through walls, the strange sounds of someone whistling, doors opening and closing on their own, voices, footsteps, and sightings of full apparitions. The basement has a series of tunnels and dungeon-like rooms. 13 Curves. Over 60 years ago, A brutal, terrifying car accident occurred on Cedarvale Road, just 10 miles southwest of Syracuse. Since that fateful day, it has been said that the road, which is known better by its nickname, 13 Curves, has been haunted by the souls of those who died in this tragic accident. Variations of the legend exist, including more modern iterations with the couple riding a motorcycle. The common thread in this legend is that a young bride haunts the place of her and her new husband's death after their wedding. One version has it that the couple supposedly crashed in 1954 while driving along the dangerous section of road. Ever since, according to the tale, a woman in white can be seen lingering along the road and intercepting unlucky drivers at night. On Newshouse 2014, one reporter, Ben Walker, related rumors that the alleged accident happened in 1928, though he admitted he had no proof of the veracity of these claims. The story exhibits similarities with the folklore theme of the vanishing hitchhiker or traveler, as well as containing elements of Lady in White and La Llorona stories from the American Southwest. Dick Chase, a writer for the Onondaga Historical Association, stated that a local woman invented the story to scare a group of smart-aleck teenagers. She and her daughter apparently orchestrated a hoax, with the daughter playing the part of the woman in white while her mother drove the teens down the dark and winding road. Canfield Casino. Things are so spooky at this Saratoga Springs Resort Hotel that SYFY's ghost hunters investigated. They experienced hair pulling, touching, and an electromagnetic field on the third floor. Others claimed they were slapped by a female specter in a Victorian dress or smelled cigar smoke that isn't there. It has been said that in the 1990s, a visitor saw a woman dressed in a Victorian-era gown roaming through the corridors. This occurred once more in 2007 when a Saratoga Springs History Museum volunteer stated a woman dressed in Victorian clothing approached their group, asked a question, and vanished into thin air. Last on the list is Utica Lunatic Asylum. Originally named the New York State Lunatic Asylum of Utica, this place has had a variety of names: Utica Lunatic Asylum, Utica State Hospital, Utica Psychiatric Center. Popularly known as Old Main, this asylum opened in 1843 and closed in 1978, but in 2014, the place reopened for tours. The place has become infamous for stories of forced lobotomies and the Utica crib, a coffin-like wooden bed with a cage around it. The victims of these extreme medical procedures are believed to haunt the place. Never heard of the Utica crib before? Then consider yourself fortunate. The asylum's first director, Dr. Amaria Brigham, was the creator of the horrifying Utica crib. The Utica crib was a long and shallow-caged bed where staff would put unruly patients in to attempt to punish them, as well as use the cribs as a space to put agitated patients that needed to calm down. Brigham reportedly created the crib as an alternative to using chain restraints on patients, but not everyone saw this device as something so innocent. Many saw the crib as something horrendous and barbaric, while others felt it was a suitable form of treatment that kept patients from harming themselves and others. This part of New York has a rich history, not just political and environmental, but for places whose past is unacceptable to some. Visit these places if you dare. Thanks for watching. If you want more scary stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, share the stories to your friends,